Hi, Tom here, and letting you know about the course that we're offering, which is Small Seeds, Big Feeds, Growing and Wellbeing in the Garden course. And just thinking about my own experience with gardening, of course, there was a time when I was getting started and didn't know a bean about gardening, and so that was a bit of a hurdle to get through. And so that's something that we'll be addressing in the course. And also, once you start going, then you still come across things that you don't know. And so, you're reaching out for more information, for getting in touch with other people's experience, and finding ways to learn about the garden. So that's something we're addressing as well. And this aspect of growing, we covered that off in the 5 videos, which is around the subjects, or the 5 gems as we call them. Soil, looking after the soil, looking after the biology of the soil, so the soil life is the most important thing. And seeds, so we talk about seeds, about heirloom variety seeds, about seed saving, about growing for seed and things like that. We talk about growing, and of course this is how do we look after the plants while they're coming from seedlings, growing to maturity and getting ready to harvest. And we also talk about animals as well, so this is things like the wonderful chooks, other kinds of animals, but also about insects as well, and how is it that we can deal with insects in our garden life. And finally, we'll talk about harvest. So this is the big celebration, how to harvest for getting on with preserving, and well, of course, Ling is going to talk to us about cooking. But there's a big thing really for me is not just about those kind of mechanics about being in the garden, about preparing the soil, growing and harvesting. There's also another aspect which is just as important, I believe, which is about the well-being aspect of being in the garden, how it enriches our life. And so there's the thing that we're bringing in the course, which is the 5 sets. So this is about mindset, heart set, health set, wealth set and spirit set. And so when we start to put our attention on these things, we'll find there's a lot of things to learn. Every day is a learning experience in the garden. So mindset's about the beliefs that we have, and so we'll have ways of talking about that and exploring that together. Heart set certainly is about how we feel. So this is it can be like when things go wrong in the garden, or insects kind of eat your plant or something like that. It's not just a technical exercise, but it's also how we feel. And it also, feeling can be a lot about how we get on with other people in the garden as well. And health set, of course. So health, we're getting health, of course, growing veggies and getting good nutrition, and we know what we're putting into the soil, and we're avoiding pesticides and all this sort of thing. But health as well, as far as our mental and emotional and psychological health as well. This is a big deal, a big part of well-being. So actually, you probably heard, nature is good for you. Nature makes you happy. And so we have a focus on that as well. And then there's the wealth set. So this is about, realizing the abundance of nature, and that's something that comes to fruition in the garden as we're growing things. And this, for me, it's like it comes about with thinking about, insecurity that we have in our society, where we're totally dependent on a job and money, where now we can experience security by virtue of growing things ourselves. And finally, spirit set. So here we are talking about our connection with nature, and adjusting our thinking and feeling about how we are positioning ourselves in the ecosystem. So our garden, whether it's a pot plant on a balcony or a nice garden bed, there is this spiritual part of being in the garden. And when we access that, that gives us something else that we can rely on in our lives. And so if you're ready to join in the course, then click the link below and away we go.